one of the most difficult things that you can do, very rarely seen to be done well, is alcohol intoxication. Part of the problem is that there are so many elements to it that have to be coordinated. And also, alcohol is a central nervous system depressant, so it works on a very deep, involuntary level of the nervous system. And so it's hard to duplicate. So the first thing you might do in working on alcohol intoxication is work on your relaxation. And maybe even work on the condition as if you were under the effect of a tranquilizer, a muscle relaxant like Valium, and get yourself very, very relaxed. And that would maybe be the beginning of working on that quality of relaxation. Now, every old timer is going to tell you in playing drunk, try to play not drunk, which means that people make the mistake of looking obviously like they are acting drunk, as opposed to the reality of the situation, which is that you are trying to act sober usually. I mean, I've seen people in Hamburg that look ridiculous, like they're giving over like children to being drunk. And I saw them and I would go, if I saw that on a stage or in a movie, I think it was fake. Most of the time, people are playing against the condition. They don't want to be seen as stupid. You can see this when you see an animal brought home from the veterinarian and they're under anesthesia, is the dramatic, fight that they're having to not be debilitated. Because your system knows that that's a bad condition to be in if you ever need, your survival challenged. If the bear is coming after you, you want to be, on your game. So your system is going to be fighting against the condition at the same time as you're knocking back another drink. So you might want to convey this struggle that you are fighting against the condition, trying to be sober. One of the best tips I can give you about playing drunk is to be clear that there are 4 emotional lines to playing drunk. And you want to be very specific about which one you choose and when you're doing it. It may be clearly indicated in the text or not so, but you want to choose which kind of drunk you are. Typically, the vast majority of people who are intoxicated will try to not be drunk and assume a kind of aloof quality. So their emotional line is they take on that they are something like royalty. Somebody said, you're drunk when you feel sophisticated, but you can't pronounce it. So they will take on this attitude of superiority, elegance. Even your Skid Row bum may take that on. As wiped out as he may be, he may adopt this attitude of aloofness. The angry drunk is like you are when you're in a bad mood. Everything is colored with this sinister, foul disgruntledness, almost like a desire to annihilate the world. Looking for a fight, is the sentimental drunk. This is where there's a kind of romantic wistfulness, maudlin, and the person is flushed with a upset feeling. It could be that they are sentimental and I love you guys so much, or that they are genuinely sad and I'm never going to see him again. Then there's also the celebratory drunk. This is where somebody is giving over to the drunkenness and everything's a party. Like you when you're in a good mood, perhaps. Even you bang your head and it's a cause for a laugh. Everything will be colored by good spirits. These people are not going to be hiding the fact that they're drunk. They're celebrating the fact, yes, I'm free. The alcohol has freed me. So those are very important elements to have. You choose which one you're going to do and you stick with it. If you're going to change from a celebratory to a sentimental drunk, you want to be very clear that you're going through a transition so that the audience can follow you. Any of them can change from one to the other. You don't necessarily need to change. You don't want to be looking to change as if that's going to make your performance more entertaining, because it won't by itself. But it's possible you could change from one emotional line to another, and it may be brought about by an incident. You stumble upon a photograph, you bang your head, or it could be that it just comes over you, where you go from being the celebratory drunk to the maudlin drunk. And it's sort of like dialing a dial. It doesn't happen, of course, automatically. It happens over a smooth transitional period. Other elements of being drunk. Again, being so important that you're acting not drunk is you be over deliberate. And that would bring me to the slur. This is the common mark of drunkenness. In fact, you might overemphasize a slur more than is what you're going to see in the reality of the condition, because there's this sort of theatrical reality where we expect that to be emphasized a little bit. To do a slur is just simply to imagine that Novocaine has been shot directly into your tongue, and you have like this loose, fat tongue in your mouth, which might force you to over-enunciate. Unless you're in one of those conditions where you're giving over to the condition, and then you may be even sloppier. But typically, in the spirit of trying not to be drunk, you're going to tend to over-enunciate, and then certain words might trip you up. Being over-deliberate in a behavior is going to be a good way to indicate that you're drunk, something that we know to be very easy to do. If you take too much time doing it, then we'll figure there's something wrong with this person, that it's that big a deal for them to count out money or do some simple thing like put a glass down or whatever it might be. One thing that I always catch people falling down on is the unsteadiness factor. So if you've ever been really smashed, you know that when you lay down, the room spins because it's like affecting your balance center. So you have to know that as drunk as you are, that's as unsteady as you're going to be on your feet. And I always all the time catch people doing a nice slur and a nice emotional line, but they're rock steady. And I think that's impossible given that they are that bombed that they could stand just planted on the floor. You might think of it as being on the deck of a boat and the seas are as rough as you are drunk. So it may be just a slight little correction that you might have to have, or it could be that you're on very rough seas and it's very hard to stay put because the floor is rocking so much underneath you. Drunkenness is very difficult to do because it has these different elements: the emotional line, the slur, the relaxation, the tilting floor, to get every one of those values in sync, consistent with how much alcohol you've ingested. There's another quality which is a little bit special, and that is a lot of drunks will have the quality of being challenged, of being put upon by the condition, what you might call ripped, where it takes an effort to face the world. And so if you're going to do a simple thing like cross the room, you may, have to get yourself steeled for it. Get ready. Okay, I'm going to make a move on the bathroom now, so here we go. Almost as if perhaps when you're really bombed that you're facing a brisk wind challenging you. And we have these words, I've used them several times: bombed, wasted, blitzed, those kinds of words seem to indicate this condition that I'm talking about, that you are put upon, that you are challenged by your condition. So there's that. Then there's another element of drunkenness, which should be that you could create accidents. There could be the simple accidents of being sloppy with something, going to put something in your pocket and falling, going to tuck your shirt in and you don't pull it off well, and in that way you might enter a scene indicating that you're drunk by buttoning your shirt wrong. So if I enter a scene and my shirt is buttoned wrong, right away you go, there may be something wrong with this person. The smallest little thing can become a disaster. If I can use this phone prop here, it could be the simplest kind of thing, like hanging up the phone. I can botch. And what makes somebody really dangerous driving drunk is what they call oversteering, overcompensating. So when you make a mistake, then it gets exacerbated by your uncoordinated effort to correct it. So if I go to hang my phone up and I miss it, I might screw the whole thing up. can be simple things like ankles can suddenly give way, knees can pop out, you can have your head snap as if, you know, like when you're somewhere and you fall asleep, the head jerks up. And then all manner of accidents you can create, all manner of things that you can choreograph, falls and so forth, and you can even pass out. Passing out almost always happens by like the lights being turned out. You've had the experience of standing up too quickly, and you've had the feeling of fainting. If you've never actually fainted, you've had that feeling like everything is dimming. The eyes will typically roll up in your head, and it might be a theatrical thing to do, is to pass out in the middle of an activity. I'm about to do something, or I'm about to speak, and that's when the lights get turned out. That's always a fun way to show it off.